So, Groundhog's Day, we are going to rate this with the Gabriel Code. 1993, Bill Murray, Andy McDowell. This is a day that just keeps replaying over and over and over again. I watched this probably in 94 or 95 after it came out on Blockbuster. You know, when Blockbuster had were there DVDs? No, it wasn't a DVD. It was a VHS. Watched the VHS. Mike, you said you watched it in theater?
I did indeed.
Watched it in theater. I watched it in 94, 95. Have not watched it since.
Oh.
Watched it in 2025.
All right.
You were...
No, then he did watch it recently.
Yeah, no, I watched it in 2025.
Yeah, great. I've seen this movie a lot. Like, it was a movie that I revisited a lot as a teenager because it's just entertaining. It's like, it's a movie I really, really like a lot. Bill Murray, super funny. We talked about that scene earlier about the French, she
Poetry,
says,
yeah.
like,
19th
I
century
studied 19th century French poetry. She's like, what?
What a waste! Stupidest thing I've
What
ever
a waste! I mean, for someone else it'd be a waste of time, but oh man, for you, you're so brave.
Whoop, whoop, next
wow,
day.
you must be really, really strong. Yeah, and then next day it's like same thing. I studied French poetry. He's just like this. He's like, oh my God, like speaking French. Do you remember what he says in French? I don't know the line.
I actually looked it up. It was a real poem. I can't remember which one it was, but
I mean, the fact that you looked it up, Mike, is pretty impressive.
I mean, super likable. It's one of those plots and stories that you're like, man, that was gold. When they pitched that to executives, they probably knew they had gold on their hands. Like Bill Murray, Weatherman, Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania.
It's Bill Murray and Harold Ramis teaming up again, and they teamed up on multiple things.
yeah.
Before Ghostbusters was Stripes, which was not a... There were boobs and stripes.
Okay.
So it wasn't...
Boob alert.
It was boob alert. But none in Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters... That should come up at some point in our discussion because I've watched Ghostbusters at least 40 times in my life.
Whoa.
Wow. So you were probably watching Ghostbusters while you had your own Groundhog Day.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. Used to watch it a lot. Used to watch it every year, and I haven't watched it in a while. But that's so Harold Ramis is.
They had some of this on set.
is
I heard Harold
Yeah.
Ramis and Bill Murray.
Yeah, I
on
think
Groundhog Day.
I don't know why I looked into this as well, but it more or less ended their friendship.
Oh, Groundhog Day did.
Yeah, and then when Harold Ramis was dying, Bill Murray found out, and he had never visited Ramis's new home, his new home. So he went to the city police. He knew the city where Ramis was.
Yeah.
And he went into the police department, and of course they recognized him. And he said, "Take me to Harold Ramis's." And so a squad car led him, and then they reconciled on Harold Ramis's deathbed.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Bill Murray seems like that kind of guy in real life. Like almost
Yeah.
like the good version of Phil in the film. Like that's kind of how he is. Just
Yeah.
salt of the earth, nice, humble guy.
Yeah. No, I love him so much, both as an actor, and he seems like I don't know where his faith life is. He has a sister who's a Dominican nun.
What?
Yeah.
I've always said I would love to just have a drink with Bill Murray.
Yeah,
Like that
he
would be
just
so fun.
absolutely.
I would hope to pee my pants because
Yeah.
he's so funny. And I'd wear a sport coat jacket.
Well, he is cheeky. I remember reading stories about him. One was he was at an airport and a woman recognized him and she said, "Bill Murray, I love you." And he said, "I love you too." And then he grabbed her and swooped her in for a kiss.
I love you too.
Wow. He's a funny guy. He's just a very, very funny guy.
So the principles of the Gabriel Code, I should have mentioned these earlier because we're talking about how to rate Groundhog Day. We'll talk about ranking it later, on our list. How good is it later in terms of a ranking? Now it's how good is it in terms of its ingredients? Like what should you be aware of? So principle 1, God must be on the horizon. Number 2, goods must be good. Number 3, evils must be evil. Number 4, human dignity must be respected. Number 5, human experience must be authentic.
Are you worried about your financial future? Did you know nearly half of Americans who retire at age 65 are projected to run out of money during retirement? And what about long-term care? It's real and costly. Nearly 70% of people will need long-term care, with nursing home costs averaging over $110,000 a year. Don't have a plan? Now you don't need to worry, because there's Advocate Financial. Advocate Financial will help you secure your financial future. They have strategies to double your account value for long-term care protection. Imagine getting an extra $900 a month from Social Security. Imagine a retirement income that's guaranteed to last a lifetime. This isn't wishful thinking. These are real strategies that work for you. Advocate Financial is Catholic, family-owned and operated, and helps you take control of your financial future. Whether you want to lower your tax bill on a big payday or get strategies to give you strong stock market returns with zero risk, go to CatholicFinancialGuide.com. Don't leave your future to chance. Talk with an expert today. That's CatholicFinancialGuide.com. Terms and restrictions apply. CatholicFinancialGuide.com.
Here at Movie Crusade, we destroy bad movies. It's how we protect our families from the filth that Hollywood spews out. Gross image, I know. But if you want to fight back against the disease of wokeness and modernism, support the nonprofit that is bringing Catholic tradition to the world, Mass of the Ages. We produced 3 viral documentaries about the traditional Latin Mass, are training hundreds of priests to celebrate it, and are helping families all over the world attend it with our Latin Mass Finder. So go to massoftheages.fund to support the online resurgence of tradition. Go to massoftheages.fund. It's the only tax-deductible way to punch Hollywood in the face. That's massoftheages.fund. So I'll just lead off and say, first principle, there's actually a mention of God. He says, I'm a God. Not the God, but I'm a God. And that's sometimes all you need in a film is like, God, okay, God is on the horizon in this universe, probably teaching him a lesson. And then there's a point where the drunkard homeless guy is dying, and he like Bill Murray like looks up in prayer, for the man. So I think that principle's safe. Would you all agree?
I do.
And I would add to that, it's even stronger than that.
Yeah.
Because he initially tells Rita, I am a God, but not the God. And then when they start to become genuine friends, she does come up to his bedroom and they're reading poetry. She falls asleep and she woke up and said, what was the last line that you just read? And he said, only God can make a tree. So God is the author of life and death. God is the author of life. Only God can make a tree. And then he repeatedly tries to save the homeless man's life. No matter what he does, the man dies. God is the author of life and the author of death. And so at that moment, you're absolutely right. That was very astute of you to notice. The man dies, and he finally realizes, I'm not God. I'm not a God. There is only one God, the author of life and death. And that's when he looks up. And that was the last night of February 2nd. The next day begins I shouldn't say the last night of February 2nd, the penultimate night. But that's the one that begins the turnaround. The next morning, the next February 2nd, is the day of his liberation.
Yeah, he starts just doing more and more virtue.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what, do you have any qualms with this film in terms of the Gabriel Code?
So I would say, because we know that there's fornication, there's no nudity, there's no even like close to it that I can remember, and I just watched it. So we've got fornication, because he mentions that with 1 or 2 females. It's mentioned with 1 or 2, at least one.
Yeah. He goes to a theater with another one dressed in a maid outfit, but that's a different woman.
Yeah. So
It's strongly implied with the first one.
it's strongly implied. So, but goods are definitely considered good, and evils are considered evil, and it feels as though I don't see how the human experience is authentic because he's miserable after repeating all of this, and maybe I'm missing the mark on that principle.
I'd say that's true.
And that
It's only virtue that gets him to flourishing.
right, and it actually is not anything like I remember in '94 or '95 when I watched the movie,
Interesting.
and I was in college and I was not leading a virtuous life,
Interesting.
and I was, in fact, watching it this time, I thought, this has. Before I was like, it's funny, it's Bill Murray. I was in college, laugh, and then whatever. And then I remember thinking, as I watched this with Allison, I was just thinking, there's pretty deep for a Bill Murray movie.
Yeah.
And so I just, other than the fornication, I don't feel that there are any other principles violated. But you have something.
Yeah, so I'll go from the lightest to the heaviest, I would say. So yeah, I don't think there's blasphemy. I don't remember anything like that.
No.
Even God, nothing like that.
No.
So that's good. So there's a scene where the woman straddles Murray. It's that for me would be a dangerous element for human dignity for the actor and actress. Same reason we talked about with what was the first film?
The Prestige.
The Prestige. Yeah, It's just like don't have two actors engage in that, because if a woman straddles a man, if a woman straddles me, that's not my wife. Like that's super dangerous, and as a viewer, that's also dangerous. But the heavier, I think, more damning thing in this film is the fornication, because I think it. Dr. Foley, you mentioned earlier that the film kind of stumbles into Aristotelian. How did you put it?
Virtue.
Virtue, yeah, because you see how vice destroys him and virtue restores him, and that's great. But then they fumble it with the last scene, because yes, his only goal is to bed her throughout the whole film until it's not, but then he gets to bed her. And it's like if someone, you remember the scene in Remember the Titans where it's like, it's the last scene and he's running with the ball and then the other guy gets all these blocks for him and it's like, touchdown. Imagine if you had the same scene, but then at the 1 yard line, he fumbles the ball out of bounds. That's what this film felt like for me, because yes, they didn't show it, but the fact that what we're saying as Catholic men is that this ending is either good or bad. It's either good or dangerous or harmful. And I would say it's definitely dangerous, because what's it saying is that he ultimately got the greatest prize, which was to fornicate.
Wait, time out.
Yeah.
I just watched this. I did not believe that he sealed the deal.
Oh,
in that
definitely did.
No.
No,
No,
100%.
Why? Why you say that? He said.
It's 100% implied.
100%.
I would
what
agree
does
with
she say
Cameron.
to him? I have an idea. He's like, what could make this day better, or what? And she says, I have an idea, and starts kissing him, and then the camera pans away.
And they also have a conversation where she basically says, you did nothing last night. Like you didn't pull any moves. And he said, I'm sorry, it was a very long day.
That's
right,
funny.
Right. That's my point. Is
But then they go on to start kissing. So they don't consummate on February 2nd. They consummate on the morning of February 3rd. And
It's like the strongest implication that what she is saying is, I'm about to have sex with you as a reward, and the camera pans away.
Oh, maybe I just completely missed that. Okay.
So
Yeah.
I get all the virtue that's in the film. Like you
Okay.
can say there's a lot of great things in this meal.
Okay.
But then it's like, I can't say it's healthy, because you have this steaming, brownie sundae or whatever it is, or crap brownie thing that's on the table. which is like, if my daughter, when she grows up, is telling me about this great guy, is like, oh, he learned poetry and he's virtuous and he saved this man's life and he knows piano and he's really selfless and he slept with me, and it's like, okay, that last thing ruined it.
Right.
And so that's what I say about this film. I push back really hard to say it has to be dangerous for me, for the evils are not evil, because as the filmmaker, he stumbled into Aristotelian virtue, but his virtue was not formed enough to be able to distinguish. He thinks there's a virtuous fornication, that if you're just committed, then that fornication is good. And that was like a good
I see your
thing
point.
that you achieved.
Yeah, I guess I feel like I can't believe I didn't pick up on that on the morning
You're probably
of.
staring into your wife's eyes, It happens.
Yeah, probably not, but it was during the day, so I was probably thinking about something else. But okay, I see your point.
Okay.
So you're saying evils are not evil because, Mike, you agree it's implied that they had sexual intimacy the morning of,
Morning after.
February 3rd.
on February
Yeah.
3rd, and then
That is the implication.
Okay.
But I don't agree with your interpretation, Cameron. I'm appreciating what you're saying about, like, if my daughter said I met this great guy who plays the piano and I slept with him the next day, you're absolutely right. And I also agree with you. That is by far the fly on the wedding cake in this movie. It is the Achilles heel. I simply chalk it up as the incense that needed to be thrown on the Hollywood fire. That this was the kind of thing that you just did when making a Hollywood movie of that kind. That's not necessarily excusing it, but I can see why it fell down the way it did, or it played out the way it did.
I can see why it did too. Yeah, why they felt like they had to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But honestly, because I interpret, and I hope we can talk about this, I interpret the film in a sense almost allegorically, that that you can almost, and this is the way I would encourage, say, my students. I show this to them all the time, and I invite them to think of this not as a literal story, because obviously it's absurd, right? The plot, but as an allegory for morality. And so you can, one way to think about the final scene or the next to final scene is not that it is fornication, but it is the consummation of virtue and grace. But that depends on how you interpret the characters prior to that.
Yeah, I think you are smart enough and your students are smart enough to apply that to this movie and read it in a good light. I think for the average viewer, they're not in a classroom with you. And that's why I would classify this film as dangerous. It's unfortunate because you see how this film would be that close to being a masterpiece of Aristotelian virtue, because it's like funny, charming, infinitely rewatchable. Like you want to live this day again and again because of Bill Murray. If at the end he just like woke up and they went to go play in the snow, like that would be so innocent and pure.
You're right. It doesn't add anything to the movie.
Yeah. And it is like a fly on a wedding cake.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
But the rest of the cake is so tasty.
it's a really good cake.
Just don't
I
eat
agree.
the part with the fly.
Yeah, just take the fly out. Exactly.
Okay, so we're rating this, and its rating is unhealthy. It's
Yeah.
dangerous. Okay.
There's unhealthy elements. Know what's in it.
So
No, there's that fly.
We can definitively say that evils are not evil because
Of fornication.
of fornication.
Wouldn't you say that if you rewatch it and it's strongly implied that she's basically saying, now let's have sex, and then that's implied that the movie is saying, look at this noble, great, amazing thing he got as a reward. And that's a good thing. It's like noble fornication.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay, I appreciate that. I'm kind of slow sometimes. So that makes sense.
And I don't think what I'm saying is like a highly academic thing. I think most people watching it would be like, oh, that's great that they slept together, It's kind of how the movie puts it together for you. It's like, oh, great, he got the girl. finally got to.
Yeah. But I see your point though. Is you can get the girl without the fornication, without.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, it could be like, yeah, that's great. Because I kind of thought like, oh, great, they slept the night, they both fell asleep, they were tired, and then that was it. And maybe I just checked out.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, because now it's like, well, man, that kind of sucks. Like,
Well, Tony, before you throw the movie out, I was intrigued by your different reactions as a young fellow who maybe wasn't living the virtuous life and then watching it more recently.
Sure.
I think we are bringing up an important principle. There's a medieval adage, whatever is received according to the mode of the receiver.
Right.
So if you, you haven't talked about the Passion of the Christ, but I see that movie poster over there.
Right.
One of the things that fascinated me about the reception of that movie is that it got some very strong reactions. But when I read the reviews, it often told me more about the reviewer than the movie.
Right.
Like you learned more about what was going on. Like when Jewish persons saw that movie, they weren't looking at the suffering Christ. They were just looking at a very negative portrayal of the Jewish leaders. So they were looking at one side of the coin like, oh my gosh, this is going to lead to another, pogrom, which I totally respect. But then when Christians watched the movie, they only saw the face of the suffering Christ, and they didn't walk away thinking those damn Jews. It was all their fault, right?
Yeah.
There were no burning of synagogues after the Passion played, at least not in the United States. So anyway, whatever is received according to the mode of the receiver. So I will concede to you that if you're not in a good moral place and you watch Groundhog Day, it may make you worse if you take that last scene seriously.
In a subtle way that people don't always put their finger on. And that's the way films work on us, is in our subconscious.
Yeah.
Like it's not a logical argument. It's like, oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a way to bed a girl that's virtuous, that kind of reinforces that.
But I will say I have watched the movie practically every year for the last 20 years.
Groundhog year.
My family and I watch it on Groundhog Day. We watch it
That's
happen.
funny.
We watch one happen one night on Valentine's Day,
Oh, cool.
Groundhog Day on February 2nd, and The Quiet Man on St. Patrick's Day.
I love
we have
this.
we do liturgical film watching.
I love that. I want to get your list of your liturgical film nights. Because I have to do that now. Like a tradition of watching films on a certain day.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So anyway, I'm just saying that consciously or subconsciously, and of course one never knows one's subconscious, I really don't think watching that movie multiple times has increased my desire for fornication.
Because of you and your virtue, I would say.
Yeah. So, but that's what I'm saying, that one shouldn't dismiss the movie altogether.
Yeah.
I grant you it's not a perfect movie. I grant you that I guess maybe the category I would like better than unhealthy is, you mentioned dangerous as well, risky. There are some films.
Dangerous is the same way.
I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I would call it slightly dangerous. I think you might rank it as more dangerous than I would. But I do concede, yeah. And then also the thing with Nancy Taylor, which was the way he seduces her. Yeah, I can see that scene going too far. The seduction itself was absolutely hilarious. Nancy Taylor from Pennsylvania High. Hi, how are you?
Mrs. So-and-so's class, English class. We sat next to each other. I asked you out to the prom.
Funny, but then
sprouted.
It makes it makes me uncomfortable because I'm like, oh man, that's so vile, like that guy I would not want near my daughters. You know what I mean?
Well, of course not.
Right.
But so I laugh
'Cause
at
he's a
it,
bad
and it
man.
is funny.
Yeah.
But
And that's when he is a bad man.
Yeah,
You know
but
what
I
mean?
do see it also as a tale of, man, what ended up was he did choose, even though I didn't understand, I can't believe I blew that last scene or that last morning scene, but he did grow in virtue.
Absolutely.
I mean, but he is still a sinner. So, but we have rated it. We have rated it as thus.
Well, real quick, Cameron,
Yeah.
you did rate it highly out as well on the authenticity of human experience.
I had nothing against the authenticity of human experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I wanted to put in one quick plug for that. Of course, like, how can this be an authentic human experience when you're living the same day over and over again for possibly 10,000 years? But they do this so ingeniously in the movie. He's in the bowling alley with the two drunk townies, and he's bemoaning the fact that this keeps happening to him, and he says, "What would you do if every day was the same and nothing you did ever mattered?" And one of the poor townies burps and says, "That about sums it up for me."
Yeah.
So this surreal situation is in a weird way connected
Exactly.
to our daily life.
It's a good way to shed light on the monotony that we all experience at different points in our lives. Yeah.
Yep.
That's true. If you liked that clip, which I'm sure you did, then check out our other clips. And don't forget to go into the comments section and hype this bad boy. Don't make me get fat cardinal. Hype it now.